Got a few extra row markers to put in today. So we've had these extra rows of PB18 plants in here for probably almost a year now, to be honest, but they have never had our row markers attached to them. So the row markers are these things here, so they're at the end of every row and of plants, and so they tell us, they give us a stock location for where all the plants are, and we picking sheets on our orders, so when the team are picking orders they know exactly which location to come to. So yeah, so we've just got a few rows of PB18s at the end that we've just never got around to putting those markers on, so that is my task for now. So we've got here our solo backpack sprayer, which we use for all our small spraying tasks, and it has developed a leak, so we are going to replace the seals in the piston because that's where the leak is. So give you a step-by-step instruction on how to do this, because there's not much available out there in the way of instructions, so might be interesting to a few people who run these sprayers. So good idea to get on some gloves. So the first thing we're going to do is remove this handle. It uses a 6mm Allen wrench. So quickly whip that off. Okay, so we've got the handle off. Next thing is to remove the hose. So there's a little clamp, hose clamp around here. So just use a flathead screwdriver. Loosen that off. And whip the hose off. Should have released the pressure on that first. Okay, so that's the hose out of the way. And then there's a protective cap on the piston, which is just here, and that also uses a flathead screwdriver. Yeah, it just pops off. So to access the two Allen bolts in here, you've got to rotate the shaft. You might need to get a screwdriver in to the hole there just to crank that round a little bit. That doesn't need much, just enough to be able to get your Allen key in there. And take those off. There we go. Right, so with those out of the way, you can now pull out the piston. Check the piston and just make sure it's not scratched. So this one is looking pretty good. I mean, this spray is only probably 3 years old, so it shouldn't be scratched. But these seals do wear out, so hence the need to replace them. So this is called a Viton seal. Yeah, just pop a screwdriver under there to get that off. Okay, so that's the old Viton seal. Go there. And now the next step is to remove the piston cylinder, so that's this thing here. Okay, so you might need a pair of multi-grips to get the cylinder off, but just make sure you're not touching the inside of the cylinder so you don't scratch the inside where the piston runs. But yeah, a pair of multi-grips on the outside of this to turn it anti-clockwise, and you should be good to go. There we go. So again, just checking the inside of the cylinder, make sure there's no scratches on it. All appears to be pretty good. Okay, so it's got a wee valve plate on the top here, which we are just going to replace with this one in the kit. So you just get a pair of long nose pliers up inside the cylinder here, and pull out the red bung at the end, like that. Pop a new one on, pop that back in. So apparently this seal here comes off as well, but I can't get that off, so we'll just have to leave that one till next time. But we'll take these two O-rings off, so just get a flathead screwdriver under there. And pop those off. Make sure you don't get any grime in there. And then we'll put those seals back, the new seals back on. This one. Okay, so that's the piston and the cylinder sorted out. So now we're going to look at the pressure cylinder. So to do that, there is a rubber ring holding that on. So loosen the screw off that. O-ring can be a little bit tight to get off, but there it is. Pop it there. Right. And now you open the cap. And there you go. That should just pop out. Yeah, it can be a little bit tough. If it gets stuck, you can pop a rag in on top of the pressure cylinder and put a block of 4x2 or something down the middle, and just get a hammer and give that a tap. Just tap it out. You know, that one has come out alright by itself. Okay, so the pressure cylinder has got another O-ring on it, so we'll just pop that off. That's an easy one. We'll pop the new O-ring on. Chance to get rid of anything if there's anything caught in there. It's looking good. Right, and then just grab a jar of Vaseline. Probably want to get a dedicated jar to this, just in case you get any chemicals on it. But, get a dab of that, and give the O-ring a good lubrication. Right, so that goes back in. So when you put the pressure cylinder back in, just make sure the O-ring has gone back on, is nicely seated when you get it back in, and yeah, that'll just sit. It doesn't sit down tight against the bottom of the tank, but that's obviously what the clamp is for when you put that back on. So we will do that now. Clamp back on. Right, so with the clamp back on, next thing to do is put the cylinder back in place, piston cylinder. So again, the two O-rings that we replaced need lubricating, but just take care not to get any lubricant on the little valve plate here. So just give that a good lube up. So now we pop this back in here, so that just screws in place. Turn that clockwise to screw it in, and you should no longer be able to see the O-ring in there, which I can't now. And then when you turn it, just make sure you get the slot that's in the back of it, at the back of the sprayer, because that's where the piston runs up and down. So just got to get that right round. It's nice and nicely lined up. I think that is pretty good. Okay, so now we're going to put the new Viton collar back on here. A bit of dust on it. So that new collar goes on there like that, on top of the piston. That also gets the lubrication treatment. The other thing to lubricate is the inside of the piston cylinder. get that down as far as your finger can go. Okay, so now we just pop the piston back in there, like so. And get the bolt holes lined up. Okay, so the got the piston back in place now, and the next thing to do with the piston is just get the piston cover back on, protective cover. Pop it back out there. Alright, and then we'll get the hose back on. And the last thing to do is pop the handle back on, and then we're all done. Okay, that is complete. So, before you run it, or before you put any chemicals in it, just chuck in some plain water and just give it a wee test and just make sure there's nothing leaking. But yeah, should be good to go. So, hopefully that is helpful for anyone who runs one of these little solo backpacks, particularly the 425 model. So yeah, they're a really nice little sprayer. You can buy them most spray shops and Mitre 10 and those sort of places, but yeah, just a handy little unit for doing small jobs, so trust that is useful.